April 7th. 1118. Baldwin I, king of Jerusalem, died, and was buried on Mount Calvary. He accompanied his brother, Godfrey de Bouillon, to Palestine during the Crusades, and on the death of Godfrey was made king. 1141. Maud declared Queen of England in a national synod. 1196. William Longbeard, a factious priest, executed. He was notorious for raising seditions in London, during the reign of Richard I. He was torn to pieces by horses, and then hung upon a gallows. 1498. Charles VIII, the affable, King of France, died. He was crowned King of Naples, and Emperor of Constantinople, but afterwards met with reverses, and was driven back into France. 1521. Magellan erected the Spanish standard on one of the Philippine Islands. 1656. Jerome Bignon, a French statesman, died. He was born 1590, and his attainments were so rapid that at the age of 10 he published a description of Palestine, and at the age of 14 a treatise on the election of the popes. 1668. William Davenant, an English poet and dramatist, died. He succeeded Ben Jonson as poet laureate, and obtained a patent for a theatre in Lincoln's Inn Fields, which was in operation a number of years. 1684. Dublin Castle in Ireland burned. 1710. Those. Betterton, the actor, died. He was esteemed the greatest master of tragic action in his time. 1710. Edward Codrington died at Barbados. He was a native of the West Indies, and distinguished himself by his learning, and by his courage in defense of the British Islands against the French. 1712. Richard Simon, a French critic and historian, died. His works are numerous, and evince extensive learning and strong judgment. 1766. Tiberius Hemsterhuis, a Dutch critic, died. He was appointed professor of mathematics and philosophy at Amsterdam at the early age of 19, and is the author of several learned works. 1776. Charles Peter Collardeau, a French poet, died. He translated a part of Pope and Young with great spirit and elegance, and also wrote for the stage. 1780. Robert Watson, a Scottish historian, died. Author of Philip III of Spain. 1785. First paper issued in Hudson, Columbia County, New York. 1786. The celebrated catacombs of Paris consecrated, with great solemnity. They lie under a part of the city which was undermined some centuries ago, to furnish stone for the ancient edifices of Paris, and at length became closed up. The cemetery had been used more than 1,000 years by 20 parishes, and it is estimated that more than 3 millions of people had been inhumed within its enclosures. In process of time, as the city extended, palaces and churches were built over the subterranean caverns, and were in imminent danger of sinking into the pit below, before it was again discovered. The mighty city of Paris had until now but one burial place, where a pit was dug, and the bodies laid side by side, without any earth being put over them, till the first tier was full, covered them, and another tier of dead came on. Thus by layer upon layer, and dead upon dead, the whole was filled up. These pits were emptied every 30 or 40 years to receive new tenants. The last grave digger, Francis Pontracy, had by his own register, in less than 30 years, inhumed more than 90,000 bodies in that ground. The great increase of burials rendered the cemetery still more inconvenient, and it was at last happily thought of converting the quarries under the city into a receptacle for the dead. 1788. The first settlement in Ohio began, at Marietta, by 47 persons from New England. 1789. Peter Camper, a Dutch physician and naturalist, died. He was distinguished for the extent of his knowledge. A splendid edition of his works was published, in 6 volumes, accompanied by 100 folio plates. 1789. Ahmed IV, one of the most enlightened of the Turkish rulers, died. The first act of his successor Selim was the execution of the Grand Vizier, on the pretext that he had occasioned the loss of Ozakov. 1796. The British squadron under Warren captured 3 French brigs and 1 sloop, laden with provisions. 1797. Suspension of arms between Napoleon and the Archduke Charles. 1797. William Mason, an English poet, died. He was chaplain to the king till the American War, when his name was erased from the list in consequence of the sentiments he entertained in regard to the liberties of the subject. 1800. Action between the British ship Leviathan, Admiral Duckworth, and the Spanish frigates Carmen and Florentia, 36 guns each, and 650 men, with 3,000 quintals of quicksilver on board. The Spaniards were captured, together with 7 vessels under convoy. 1806. Allegheny County in western New York erected. 1807. Lalancy April 4 by some authorities. His death is put down on the 7th. 1812. Captain Agar, a celebrated English pedestrian, undertook to walk a distance of 59 miles in 8.5 hours, for 200 guineas. Time. 1812. Mrs. Bumby died at Akering, England, aged 80, remarkable for a horn growing from her forehead in a spiral form to the length of nearly 6 inches. 1814. About 200 British Marines and sailors landed at Saybrook, in Connecticut, spiked the cannon and destroyed several vessels, and escaped in the night to their shipping. 1817. The county of Tompkins in the state of New York erected. 1835. James Brown, an American statesman, died. He rose to a high rank at the bar, and was several years minister to France. 1836. William Godwin, an English novelist, and political and miscellaneous writer, died, aged 81. He relinquished to gain a subsistence by literature. His works are numerous, and acquired him much celebrity, though tinctured more or less with skepticism. 1844. Morgan Lewis, a distinguished American military officer and statesman, died at New York, aged 90. He served with fidelity under the colonial government, and with honor and gallantry in the War of the Revolution, and in the War of 1812. He held various important civil offices from 1791 to 1810. 1849. Irvine Shubrick, an American naval officer, died. He had been 35 years in the service, and fought under Decatur and Downes. He commanded the expedition against the island of Sumatra in 1832, which captured Kuala Batu, and broke up a horde of pirates who molested vessels there. 1850. James Amott, a distinguished member of the New York Bar, died at Poughkeepsie, aged 80. 1854. All English and French vessels were ordered out of the port of Odessa. 1856. The steamship Adriatic, the largest vessel of the kind that had ever been built, was launched at New York.